welcome to Coffee Breaking Crime. It's your host,
Crystal
and Celine. Grab your mug,
sit back,
relax,
and unwind while we get into today's mystery.
I can't believe we're on episode number 2 already.
I know, that's so exciting. Episode 1 went great. We got some awesome feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we're working through technical issues and things like that, but overall great, and we got some really positive feedback from everyone, so thank you.
Yes, thank you for being patient while we work through all of our technical stuff. And we also want to thank everyone who came to our Instagram page and followed us. We got 100 followers on there right now, and we're so excited. So if you haven't followed us, don't forget to go over there. It's Coffee Breaking Crime. And I think we put the link in the show notes last time, and we're going to do it again this time.
Right, yes.
So Celine, tell me what's in your cup today.
So today I have just a bit of cold brew over ice and a splash of my usual almond milk. What about you? What's in your cup?
Today I have my iced coffee. I guess you would call it a iced caramel latte.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we're interested to know what's in your cup. Hit us up on Instagram and let us know what you're drinking while you're listening to our podcast.
Okay, y'all, we're not going to take too much time before we get into today's case. Today's case is actually a case that hits pretty close to home for Celine and I. The young lady that we're going to talk about today is actually from our hometown of Scott, Louisiana, which is a very small town. Yeah. So having someone from our hometown that is involved in a missing person case is kind of a big deal for the town of Scott, Louisiana.
Yes, absolutely a big deal. Like Crystal said, it's small town. I think the population of Scott is like less than 10,000 people. So,
right. So in this case, I know that we will probably have quite a few listeners that will know about this case and may in some way be connected to this case. So we're going to try to just keep this as respectful and sensitive to as possible, because it is an ongoing investigation. It's an open case, and it's very fresh, very new. Actually, speaking about people who are close to this case, my husband recently realized that this young lady, whose name is Ella Goodie, was someone that he actually was neighbors with when they were younger and growing up.
Wow.
Right. So he didn't realize this until his mom brought it to his attention, and then he realized who she was. So it just brought it even a little bit closer to home. So like I said, today's case is about Ella Kiana Goodie from Scott, Louisiana. And Scott is actually just a few minutes outside of Lafayette, Louisiana. And if you don't know where Lafayette, Louisiana is, it's about an hour from Baton Rouge or 2 hours from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So a little bit about Ella. She's also known as Lala to some of her friends and family. She is 33 years old. She has brown hair and brown eyes, a mother of 2. She's 5'3" and 120 pounds. I've also seen it reported that she's 170 pounds, but from the pictures that I've seen of her, I believe that she's closer to 120 pounds because she's really tiny.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ella's family talks about her being a good, kind-hearted person. And just from what my husband tells me of what he knew of her when she was younger, she was that way even as a child. Her mom, I don't want to get too much into what he knew of her because that is not really reported in the media, but her mom had disabilities and she kind of took the reign as the caretaker in the family with her siblings. So she has been a caring person since childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this case has been in the media for the past few months, and it is not, the case is not solved yet, but there is a lot of information that has gotten out to the public. So we're just going to talk about some of that stuff today. So this all began on March 9th, 2022. So
Okay,
almost
so
4 months
very
ago.
recent. Yeah,
Exactly.
very
Only
recent.
4 months ago, not even 4 months ago. So Ella was a Lyft driver, but at the time that she went missing, she was actually suspended from her Lyft account. So she was doing rides on the side and just getting the money, without the middleman, just taking people on rides and collecting the money on her own.
So, like, how would you do that without like the app? I'm
So
curious.
I'm assuming that it was mostly from people she knew or word of mouth.
Like word of mouth, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which this is not the safest thing to do. And I
Yeah.
just want to say that because when you're using the rideshare apps, Lyft and Uber, you are being tracked and they know everywhere that you are and at what time, and there's a GPS tracking on your phone. So without that, she was not being tracked unless she would have had somebody tracking her phone, which in this case, I don't believe that she did.
Okay.
March 9th, she was asked by Brandon Jermaine Francisco to bring him to Houston, Texas. And Brandon was someone that she had encountered before. I believe that she knew who he was. They just may have not had a super close relationship, but he wasn't a complete stranger to her, from what I'm understanding.
So it felt comfortable enough to give him almost a 4-hour drive
Right.
from Scott to Houston.
Right. So if you're not aware, Scott is about 4 hours from Houston, Texas. So that would have been 8 hours of driving him there and her coming back.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure if he was supposed to come back with her or not, but either way, she was driving him to Houston. She told her kids that she would be home and that she was bringing someone on a ride to Houston.
Okay.
That was the last time that anyone ever saw or heard of Ella, was March 9th. She was driving her 2012 Audi Q5 towards Texas on I-10. That was the last time that she was seen. 12 hours later, traffic cameras actually caught her car driving back towards Louisiana.
Okay.
But the cameras could not tell if she was in the car. The next day, March 10th, her vehicle was spotted back in Texas, north of Dallas. So Dallas is 6 hours away from Scott, Louisiana.
In the opposite direction.
Right. So Dallas is 2 hours, I believe, from Houston, past Houston, north of Houston. So she was never supposed to be in Dallas, but her vehicle was spotted in Dallas on the 10th of March. So that was one day after she went missing.
So, sorry, it's just confusing to me. I'm trying to picture it in my mind. It's a route that I take often.
Right. You
do. Her car was seen 12 hours later heading back in towards Louisiana.
Right.
They could have gone straight from Houston to Dallas in 2.5, 3 hours, but instead headed back into Louisiana and added possibly 3 to 4 hours onto the trip.
Exactly. And she never agreed to take him to Dallas.
Right.
And she had kids at home to see about. So it's unlikely that she would have gone to Dallas.
Right.
On her own.
At least checking for her kids.
Right. Exactly. So after her car was spotted back going into Dallas, we're going to fast forward. Her car was actually found on April 1st in St. Joseph, Missouri, by the Missouri Police Department, the St. Joseph Police Department.
Missouri, the state.
Right. 55 miles north of Kansas City. So Between the 10th, when the car was spotted in Dallas, and April 1st, we don't know where the car was, but somehow it got to Missouri. And the car was found abandoned.
It's a long trip.
Right. And between all of this time, she's been reported missing. The cops are looking for her. The family is talking to the media. They're doing search it. They're looking for her. This is not like she was gone. It's not like she was gone and it was something that she does, so people just let it be. No, they were looking for her this entire time. A little about Brandon Francisco, who was the guy that she was supposed to be bringing to Houston. Mm-hmm. He's from Missouri, Louisiana, and he has a long criminal history. So in 2003, he was convicted for possession of a stolen firearm. In 2008, he had a conviction for statutory rape and attempted second-degree murder. Okay, so let's go back a little bit before we found Ella's car on April 1st. Mm-hmm. The cops already knew that Brandon Francisco was the guy that she was bringing to Houston. So he was a person of interest immediately. Okay. Yeah. So on March 25th, he was actually arrested by the U.S. Marshals in St. Joseph, Missouri. Okay. So he was found in St. Joseph, Missouri, but he was arrested on a separate, unrelated warrant. But because they knew that he was a person of interest,
in Ella's
case, they needed to have him in jail so they can speak to him. But the unrelated warrant was for failure to appear in court on March 9th. So if you think back, March 9th is the day that Ella was supposed to be bringing him to Houston.
Right.
And the case was not in Houston. So why did he need to go to Houston on the day he was supposed to be appearing in court in Louisiana?
Right. Exactly. Right. Okay.
So on March 25th, that was the day he was arrested. He tried to resist arrest. Whenever the cops came to arrest him, he tried to resist, but they did end up arresting him. Now, I've seen his mugshot from this day, and he's wearing a shirt, and this kind of just like rubbed me the wrong way. He's wearing a shirt that says Black King.
Okay.
That was an eye roll for me. So after he was arrested in Missouri, he was extradited back to Louisiana and held without bond. And he did try to fight his extradition back to Louisiana, but lost.
He should.
And the warrant that he had for not appearing in court was for a case pertaining to a shooting in 2018. So Francisco and his accomplice actually started shooting at a man who was approaching their vehicle that happened to be parked on a shoulder. I have no clue why they were shooting this man, what was going on there, but his charges were attempted second-degree murder, conspiracy to commit second-degree murder, unauthorized use of motor vehicle, and destruction of justice.
And he was just out free doing God knows what with these charges.
Right. And don't forget that he also was convicted in 2008 of statutory rape and attempted second-degree murder.
Like, why is he even out?
Why is he free? Because...
Right.
So he also was charged of jumping bail to another state, and he pled not guilty, but he is still being held in jail for these charges while the investigation for Ella Goodie is continuing. So he's been in jail since March 25th. On May 3rd, it's reported by the Louisiana State Police that the investigation would now be treated as a homicide. So I'm not sure what information they got that would take it to them wanting to treat it as a homicide. That hasn't been released. I'm sure there's a lot of information that we just don't know because it's such a fresh and new case. And it's open. It's still open and they're still investigating. But they decided on May 3rd to treat the case as a homicide. The family, they're still pleading for answers. I see Ella Goodie's cousin, Danasha, not exactly sure how to pronounce her name, Danasha Johnson, came out with a statement saying, "We all hurt. Ella was a good person, so good to everybody. We just need answers. We need to know what is going on, what happened, everything." Danasha is running a Facebook page, and I did kind of go into the page and look at a lot of things, and she posts almost every day wanting information about Ella, and they're still praying and hoping for her safe return, even though the cops have now changed the investigation over to homicide because they have not found a body or released any definite information. The family is still praying for her safe return.
Yeah.
On May 20th, they held a vigil at the Martin Luther King Center in Lafayette, Louisiana. The candlelight vigil, a lot of people came out and the family spoke, and, you know, it was just in support of trying to bring awareness to this case. Also, because Ella's phone pinged, by pinging her coordinates for her phone were shown in the town of Iowa, Louisiana, near US 165 and I-10. They searched that area, hoping to find anything, any information, any clues, and nothing came up in this area. But they did. Go ahead.
And that was the last place her phone pinged?
Yes, that's the last. And this is on the way to Houston, but it's still in Louisiana. So probably 45 minutes out of Scott or Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's how long. I see it. I traveled that road today coming back to Austin, and I had to pass Iowa. So it is on the route to Houston. So we know that her phone at least got that far.
Right.
Very small town. So I assume that they thought they would find something in the wooded areas in that area because that is nothing but country area, but nothing was found. Ella was last seen wearing a denim jacket and blue pants. So I just want to put that out there because, like I said, she has not been found. And there's a lot of speculation. I did a lot of time reading into the Facebook groups and a lot of YouTube videos of psychics and tarot card readers. I watched all of that, and I'm not going to go too much into detail about that because, you know, it's all speculation. Right. And, you know, I want to be respectful of the family because I'm not sure what their beliefs are and what they would feel about some of the things that have been being said online. Now, there was one YouTube video of a psychic reading that was brought to my attention by someone else, and I watched it, and they went into great detail of what they believe happened. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail. You can search that up on your own on YouTube. But, you know, it wasn't a great ending. I'll just say that in what they believed. But like I said, that's all speculation. There's so many people, and it's also disgusting because I actually saw on Facebook a different quote unquote reading where the person was being very rude and ugly about the case. So there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Like,
at the end of the day, we have to remember that these are real people with real feelings, and, you know, we just, again, have to watch what you say and things like that. At the end of the day, we're all people, and we just have to respect each other.
Right. And this is an open case. Her family is
Exactly.
still looking for her. We do
They
not
still have
know.
hope. Yeah, they
Right.
still have hope.
As they should, because there's nothing. There's nothing to say where she is. All we know is that she got into her car and drove towards Houston, Texas. Her car was seen in Texas. It was seen coming back from Texas, and then seen again in Texas, Dallas, Texas, and then days later found in Missouri. We know that Brandon Francisco drove her car to Missouri. We know that much. How he acquired the car, we don't know. But in he stated that she gave him permission to drive the car.
Has he stated anything about her? Like the last
Not
time he saw her or anything?
not that I've seen. From what I understand, in my opinion, I'm not going to say that I saw that. He has a lawyer because when he was arrested in Missouri, he fought extradition.
Right.
So I'm assuming he lawyered up immediately because he immediately started fighting extradition back to Louisiana. Also, the fact that he asked Ella for a ride to Houston on the day he was supposed to appear in court, he was jumping bail. Like,
yeah,
he was definitely leaving the area. Now, what happened from there, I'm not quite sure.
and I mean, we just might never know.
Right.
But something happened. I mean, he, like you said, he obviously was doing court that day. He was jumping bail and decided to go to Houston for whatever reason. But the strange part to me is that he or Ella drove back into Louisiana. That
Right.
makes me think that possibly getting on to, what is it, 49 to go to Dallas?
Well, there's different routes to Dallas because you can
True.
go 10 and then go north, or is it 49?
I think it's 49.
Yeah, 49 up through Shreveport to Dallas.
Yeah, that's the route I was thinking.
Right. So I don't know if they went back to Houston and then Dallas, or if they went straight to Dallas from 49. That I don't know.
And it makes I'm also wondering if the ping, not probably they wouldn't release that information because it is an open case and they have to keep things very close to the chest.
Right.
But the ping, the last time it pinged, was that it makes me wonder, was it on the way or on the way back? You know what I mean?
Right. And with technology, I'm wondering if they even can figure that out. Can they well, I assume that they can see which towers it was pinging along the way. Like where it was hitting along the way, in which direction.
They should be able to say what time too, to see what time.
Right.
Whether they release that information or not, that's another thing. But
right,
they should be able to see about what time it pinged, and then we would know
right
what time she was in that particular area.
Now, also, I want to make it known that the media has really, really slowed down on talking about this case.
Yeah.
The last things that I've seen was in May. I mean, in detail, like here and there in June, they've spoken about it, but we're at the end of June and it has slowed down significantly. And the case is not solved.
Right.
So I don't know if it has been pushed on the back burner in media's eyes because the suspect or the person of interest is in custody for something else that, is not as interesting to post about it, but it is still open. She is not found. So it needs to be in the forefront.
Definitely does. It needs to still be out there. People still need to be aware and helping, looking for her, knowing that this woman, this mother, this daughter, this sister, this neighbor she's missing, and her family would like her home.
Her children, for
Yeah.
one, she had 2 children. Like, they want to know where their mother is, right? And it's just it's I don't want to say it's different when it hits close to home, but you feel it more because,
Yeah.
especially where we're from, Scott, like we said, it's a small town. People don't come up missing often. I think the last time that we can really remember somebody coming up missing in our area, as far as Scott Dusson, which is right outside, is Keosha Felix in 2012,
I think
and
so.
we still have not found her. Now, I'm sure that there may be other people that I'm not.
That's the biggest, like, well, not biggest. That's the one that's in the forefront of my mind that I could think of.
Right. And that may be another case that we can dive into because
it's definitely on the list.
Right. 2012. I mean, I don't know if it went national. It definitely was a big case in our area.
I think it kind of went to like some. I think it kind of went to some media, but remember around that time it was overshadowed by Mickey Shunick.
Exactly.
And that went national.
And I read, people saying the same thing about the Ella cases, that it kind of was overshadowed by the Gabby Petito situation.
Yeah.
And every case is important.
Every case is
important, whether nationality, skin color, whatever. So as important as the Gabby Petito case was, so is Ella Goodie. That case is equally as important. So we should talk about both.
We should talk about both.
Ella's case has been in the media. I'm not going to say it hasn't been, but we haven't seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's important that we keep shining a light on the cases that have not been seen all the way through. And in the case of Keosha Felix, that has been since 2012. She was 15 at the time, and we still don't have an answer. And she was a young mother as well.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
This is definitely, I obviously heard about the case. Like we said, it's our hometown, so, but when you told me that you were going to do this case, I didn't want to, do a whole bunch of background information on it and become very up to date on it. So a lot of it I hadn't known. Honestly, I didn't even know they had a suspect in custody. That's how behind I was on it. It's just not something that's kind of sitting at the top of the news anymore. I'm glad they do have a suspect in custody. I mean, if we look at the facts, just from basically kind of taking a little bit of notes of what you said, just basically, I mean, he obviously had the car. He was found in the same town in Missouri, which is like 10 hours away from Scott, Louisiana, and Missouri, maybe 10 to 12 hours away, something like that. And he was found in the same town. The car was found 3, 4, 5 days after he was found there.
Right. And I'm hoping I have my dates right on the day the car was found. I think I do. But, right. And I believe I read that he had connections to people in that town. So he was there because I think, this is me saying that he's been there before. It's not like just a random.
It's a specific place,
Right. Have you ever heard of St. Joseph, Missouri? You have?
My mom used to live in Missouri.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
But it is, like I said, it's a very specific place. But, I'm just kind of, people just make me very upset. How you want to skip bail, but you don't have a car? You don't have a car. You have to, steal one. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised he had to steal a car to skip bail, but
I mean, in his background, he's stolen a gun. Yeah. committed statutory rape, 2 cases of attempted second-degree murder, unauthorized use of a vehicle. That means it wasn't his car. He probably had no license.
Yeah, well.
So this guy his record is not clean by any means.
So it's gonna be, she went missing on, I think you said March 9th. So it's gonna be 4 months next
in
month.
July, right?
Yeah, it's been 4 months.
And for the past month, we haven't had much media coverage for about the past month.
I'm hoping that, the authorities, it looked like the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the Louisiana State Police. I'm hoping they have like information that they just can't share with the public, and that something will happen, something will jump soon.
Right. And they are asking if you have any information to contact either Chief of Police Chad Leger, mm-hmm. or the Louisiana State Police.
And we'll put those numbers in the description.
Right. So any information that you have at all, like I said with the last case that was much older that we did last week, like I said with that case, anything small, big, small, tiny, it doesn't matter. If you think you remember anything that can be helpful, just call in anonymously if you have to. And this guy is behind bars, so thankful for that we don't have to worry about him hurting anyone for now, at least. Hopefully they'll keep him where he's supposed to be.
Hopefully they keep him in. That's what I was just going to say.
Right. I'm not sure how long he did for the attempted second-degree murder charge. But, I mean, how many of those do we need? He's on his second one from 2018. And this is all not even dealing with Ella. All right, y'all. So that's all that I have on the case of Ella Goodie. And I just want to remind everyone, even if you go and check out the Facebook groups and join the groups, just please be respectful of the family and remember that this is someone's loved one. And if it's not helpful, then just don't even say it. Absolutely. Also, I will be posting pictures of Ella on Instagram so that, you can go see her face and put that image in your mind just in case she is out there or you have seen her around the time of, March 9th. You may remember her.
And even share your thoughts about the story or what you think about it in the comments. We love that as well.
Yes. Also, I do want to also add some physical features about Ella. She had a gap in the front on her top front teeth. Mm-hmm. She has tattoos on her chest, her neck area, and down her arms. I know that I saw the ones down her arms were of stars, and I'm not sure what the ones in her neck said, but she did have many tattoos.
Well, that's all the time that we have today. We want to thank you so much for hanging with us and spending your coffee break with us.
We appreciate you guys so much.
We do. We definitely do. All of the details, like we said, the numbers and things like that will be listed in the description. Don't forget to head to our Instagram, Coffee Breaking Crime. Leave us some messages. Comment under the photos. We love to interact with all of you.
Yes, and if you have any ideas on future cases, don't forget to DM us. I've been getting a lot of requests for cases actually in the area of our hometown, so we're definitely going to be looking into those soon.
Absolutely.
So, y'all, break time is over.
Be safe, make good decisions, and join us here next Wednesday for the next episode of Coffee Breaking Crime.
Bye.